They walk among us. They breathe our air, drive on our streets. They are sexist, basement-dwelling Neanderthals. Their notions are absurd, and their ideas are dangerous. As a civilization, we've moved beyond attempting to debate those who would corrupt our young. In this day and age, we just respond to them in a firm and dismissive manner, making clear to all in the immediate area that this person is a sexist and not to be debated with. A fellow of the Chartered Institute of Linguists will demonstrate.
I agree with the Honourable Lady that certainty as soon as possible is important, but I would urge her not to be hysterical about these things. Many companies are making contingency plans.
Chancellor of the Exchequer accused me of being hysterical. Can we have a ruling from you in the chair, Mr. Speaker, as to whether this sort of sexist language used to diminish women who make a perfectly reasonable point, that is the sort of language that would not be used had I been a man? My question on the registration of companies in Ireland had nothing to do with the condition of my womb travelling to my head, as is the traditional hysterics rhetoric. I expect that sort of language from the sketch writers of the Daily Mail, not from the Chancellor of the Exchequer.
This is how to respond to a sexist, quickly, firmly and disparagingly.
If my comments, Mr. Speaker, have caused the Honourable Lady any offence, I of course withdraw them unreservedly.
To simplify, let's condense our response to this. Shut up, misogynist! Observe.
I've been told to stop shouting about ending gun violence. Well, I haven't been shouting, but sometimes when a woman speaks out, some people think it's shouting.
Tony, was it a stretch for her to tie the shouting comment from Sanders to sexism?
It's not surprising to see a Democrat use these type of ad hominem attacks against a political opponent. It's just unusual to see it done against a fellow Democrat.
Shut up, misogynist!
Do you understand the issues of entrenched sexism, Philip Davis, as Caroline Lucas has just outlined, the gender pay gap, violence against women? Do you understand those issues?
Yes, absolutely. There are massive issues that affect women. There is a gender pay gap. There's also a part-time gender pay gap where women are paid more than men. Yes, many women, 2/3 of victims of domestic violence are women, but 1/3 of victims are men. So what I'm saying is, of course, there are issues that affect women and they should be tackled on the committee, but equally there are issues that affect men, and I don't see why they should be excluded from having their views on what is supposed to be.
None of these things are specifically about, one group attacking on another. They're all about a culture and what kind of language we use in our culture. And we should all be looking at how can we use language better? Because as you said yourself, Peter, language does have power. So let's use that power to create a more positive and constructive culture.
Peter,
and it's not about some sort of moratorium on individual words, tearing them out of the dictionary.
We are unfortunately running out of time. But Peter, I just want to get one final thought from you. Are there words that are used to describe men that offend you?
Not particularly, and if there are some I don't like, I certainly wouldn't want them banned. But it always goes back to that old adage: sticks and stones may break my bones, but there will always be something to offend a feminist.
Peter Lloyd.
No, that's just obnoxious. Sorry, you have to give me a chance to respond to that. That is ridiculous. No, hang on, I won't do your show again if you don't let me respond. If he thinks he's going to take that privilege and just wander on air and say obnoxious things about a campaign for equality, then that is horrific bigotry, and I object to it being aired at any time.
But it's not about equality, because they didn't bother to analyse what men think.
You've restarted, fair enough. Let me just stop you so you don't waste a line of questioning. I'm just giving you...
I love the mansplaining. I'm enjoying it.
You're loving what?
The mansplaining that's going on.
Well said, Senator.
You're not being reasonable. You're being ridiculous. Give me a thank you. Give me a thank you for feminists for getting your right to vote. Otherwise, stop voting and go make me a ham sandwich.
The expansion of the franchise is a lot more complicated than what we've been led to believe. And in most places, the amount of time between universal male suffrage and universal female suffrage was as little as 50 years, sometimes as little as 10.
Shut up, misogynist!
If a movement came about where they wanted some men's officers and they wanted to get funding specifically for men and working class men or whoever needed it, you would support that, yeah?
I would support equality in all of its forms. And what I would know from evidence-based literature is that currently in society, the inequality more falls towards women being represented. Specifically,
We're talking about universities here.
Well, yes, I've been to university, I'm aware. What I would say is in university and everything that we're aware of, especially in the sciences, the inequality has fallen more towards women being represented in the sciences. There is certainly...
Not in biology, not in psychology, what else? Not in social sciences, all of the medical fields. I know that there are some areas such as physics, engineering. I know that is dominated by women still, but all of the other areas of sciences and all of the other subjects, in fact, are now dominated by women.
Shut up, misogynist!
How many of you agree that men and women should sit separate? Please raise your hands.
Yeah, well, that's probably to do with health and safety.
What the is it with this stupid sideburns of yours? Are you in some sort of a time capsule 60s mein pahunch gaye ho? What is it with those faces? What are you doing? What is that? These guys don't have tongues? No, really, they can't talk. There's not one word coming out of their mouth.
Actually, the thing is that we don't want to talk with you, actually.
Why don't you go and f*** off then?
You go. How can you slap? How can you slap? How can she slap? How can she slap me? How can you slap me? Okay, bastard! Bastard! How can she slap me? You bastard! How can you enter? I'll fuck your face right now! You fucking bastard! I'll fucking kill you, bastard! Arrest him! Mother chop bantu.
Any questions? This message was based on an idea by James Corbett of CorbettReport.com and is dedicated to all champions of equality and freedom of speech. Shut up, misogynist!